Well, it's dominance on Stone Keep from Invocal and the Idiots. Maybe not a particularly big surprise when you consider who's on the roster, but the way that they did it truly was impressive. Still Finch here on the desk, and I'm still joined by Gormizer here across from me, man. And let's just talk about how they won it, right? 2 caps, 1 push, 1 defense. That's pretty darn good about every way that you can get it done, huh?
It definitely started out like it was going to be a 4-0, too. Like, they were really, really pushing that one well. And it was comfort from the top to bottom, right? You have a lot that I think is going in favor of Invocal and the Idiots, just in terms of roster. I mean, 2 championship rings, definitely always helpful to make you feel a little more bolstered, as well as, well, I would argue 5 championship caliber players that you have coming through. But they just, something meshed that didn't feel like anyone on Triple Deeps was able to kind of retaliate with.
And you kind of heard Kresnik talk about it towards the end there, right? This felt like a Triple Deeps team that for the first time was under too much pressure for them to deal with, right?
Yes.
I mean, normally they're used to having so much space to work with. The enemy team is the one that feels like they're so suffocated by all that damage, but they really struggled here this time. And I do think that a lot of this does come down to Invocal just kind of having one of those games, right, where he just goes off on this Androxus.
There's a pretty good reason, I guess, that his name is the first and foremost one that is mentioned. In fact, the only one that is mentioned at the very beginning. Invocal does so much work throughout all of this. There's a lot of pressure where he's able to get into the back, and the biggest thing is that he is able to slow down and pick off anyone and everyone that keeps him going. And that's the biggest thing, is a double kill right there, right? He's under pressure. There's triple DPS. 2 people should be looking at him at any given time.
Right.
And where are they? In the ground, because he put them there.
Yeah, I mean, as sometimes Invocal just comes in and plays at a level like this. You're so right, man. I mean, throughout the history that we've seen from him, we knew that he could be someone that if he was given that opportunity, right, maybe he could be on one of those best teams and truly make a run for it. And he's doing it the hard way here, starting as part of this qualifier process, but really him and the rest of this team kind of burning their way through all the competition. At least so far, though. This is just map 1, right? Was there more that you saw here from this Triple Deeps team? Was there anyone on there that you thought performed well enough that maybe you could see it changed, or maybe even a weak link that you saw on this roster as well?
I don't know if Kogo's the call.
Sure.
That's what it comes down to. There's a point. Cool, at the end of the first round was 0-5. Did much better in the second round, so I'll give him credit for that. But then in the second, or at the end of it, you also have Poison at 2-7. Like,
Poison struggled as well.
There's a lot of little moments where it's just like, you guys weren't clicking. Something wasn't working together, and I think that's going to be some of the problem, is getting them on a champion that they're comfortable on, but also that works well with each other, because you've put Vex on Grover, which fits perfectly on Stone Keep. You get Dosips onto an Inara, and that's a match made in heaven.
And it's something that you heard our casters talking a little bit about during the game, during some of that downtime that they had, that they did seem a bit out of sync, particularly Poison, right? Sometimes when the Midnight was being used, but he's still out too far forward into all this vision from Cassie, not playing maybe the way that you would normally expect at the level from this team. So clearly they got to get something right on this roster, or they're going to end up struggling throughout the entirety of this set. They are in that first pick spot here again, but still, just like we saw before, Genos could make it through. Not the Torvald here this time, though. They're taking that away.
And I like that change, just because I feel like Torvald, again, it's one of those things that if you can make it to late game, you should have a couple of wreckers online that can help deal with them and make it maybe a little bit easier. But you didn't make it a late game last time. Don't risk it this time around, right? Just kind of keep yourself comfortable. Get rid of that if that's going to be part of the problem. And, Triple Deeps are in this position where, yes, this is a stacked roster on one side, but like, they have shown in the semifinals that they can beat stacked rosters. They beat a project to get here, So Cuss's team has been, quote-unquote, eliminated by them, still making it all the way to the group stages because he made it to the semis.
Yes.
But not getting as far as you would expect from a team like that. So you know they have it in them. It's just trying to find, I guess, the right map and champion combinations for them to feel comfortable against what is a really deadly team. There's no way to slice that. They're just so good.
And eventually you're going to have to beat teams like this, right? You are trying to make it to the PPC, right? So I think it's only so much of an excuse that you can say as the competition you're across from, because eventually you are going to have to compete at this level. And as you said, everyone that's making the semis is making it to the group stage, but it's more than just seeding, right? You win this first week, likely the most competitive one, I'd imagine, right, too. There's something to be said for coming in and just making that big signal right when things start off. But they take this Androxus away from Invocal after that last game. No big surprises there, I'd imagine, right?
No, but keep talking while you leave them real open with the Maeve, and I expect it to be Maeve actually on Invocal here. Really? That was one of the things that was really big between him and Shadow on Renegades last year. Invocal was the one who liked picking it up, because Invocal is just down and dirty with it. He is so good on Maeve. Granted, it is very flexible. In fact, both of those are very flexible, but I would say, in my mind, random noob's already comfy on Cassie. Maybe keep him there, get Invocal on something we know he's good at. And then you've got comfort picks, not only just for Rubu there on the Ruckus, but also for Dosips. As good as Triple Deeps are with their draft, Invocal and the Idiots are just comfortable.
Yeah, it just feels like they're playing at this point where they're synergized, right?
Yeah.
They're in that final form. We'll see how it ends up working for them in game number 2 if Triple Deeps can find some way to get the upset.
You're gonna need a big change moving into Serpent Beach if you're Triple Deeps. They stick with the Triple Deeps, so that's not where the change is. Maybe a play style change, a little something, find a pick here and there. You gotta put Invocal in the Idiots on the back foot. I'm gonna ask though, Kruznik, and this is something that's been, well, maybe it's kind of a non-factor the more I think about asking you this question. Are they giving away too much by literally picking triple DPS every single time? Can you just pick ban around that?
I think you could, and I think that's what Invocal and the Idiots did in round 1, but I'm not sure about what they did this round, honestly. I feel like giving them Genos was a boon to them with the sustained comp that they had, but they just felt like it wasn't viable this time. Still managing to win that dial fight on the side, pushing them all the way back, and Rubu on Ruckus, it doesn't matter what comp you have, you don't want to see that on the other side.
That's right. I'm excited to see it as a neutral spectator here. I'm nervous if I'm one of the Triple Deeps players, and already in control of this mid-fight is Invocal and the Idiots. Triple Deeps was able to garner themselves about 20% on that point. Bit of a tug of war, as we sometimes see here on Serpent Beach, but first blood, 1 minute and 48 seconds into this one. Random Noob wins the flank duel. Back behind by the Sundial, and now that's Cool who's down as well. You still have that Vivian to support you with a little bit of extra damage. You've got to kind of fall back here, especially with Wadu Peckington dropping down. 84%. Zone is on from Random Noob. You're going to be able to get the dismounts as well. 96, nobody in range. Invocal and the Idiots. One more time, methodical. 2 minutes in, point number 1.
And you know, I talked about this earlier on the desk where I was saying, console teams, they're going to have to draft similar things if they want their controller players to be enabled, right? They picked Andro Koga super early. Andro did end up going to Poison, but you could predict hit scan backline, hit scan flanker. They have to ban Eevee. These are things that Invocal and the Idiots are abusing, I would say, in this. And they ended up with a pretty solid draft for it. Even though it wasn't as dominant as the first mid of the last map, they still managed to maintain complete control.
And I kind of looked at that first blood where now it's Random Noob back on something we're more used to seeing him on this Maeve, Invocal back on that Cassie where we're used to seeing him. But I think a good data point, just one game in, that we can really see how good Random Noob can be on these different hit scan types of champions. Not that Cassie necessarily falls fully into that role. Dosips and Cool trading back 1-for-1 as Invocal and Cool both go down. Haven't seen many through times and spaces find big connections yet here today. Genos, to be fair, I guess hasn't seen all that much playtime, but that's certainly a guy that can change around a push with one big ultimate.
For sure. I don't know how many people he's going to be able to get easily on the other team, though.
Yeah, they're spread.
Just with this pressure right now from Cool, but just used all his dashes, committed with nothing, and trades back and forth, but I'd say the defensive team probably has an edge.
That's right, but suddenly it's 2 kills, make it 3. Looks like Hexafire firing away, pounding the earth in the back line for Invocal and the Idiots. Gogurt still up on that high ground. Good positioning there from that Vivian. That's so often the conversation here on Serpent Beach. You got to be able to get up, make them a little bit uncomfortable with that free verticality. They get straight out of the base on that defense. So Invocal and the Idiots, they win a few kills, but still a decent distance to go here with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, I want to see what Ultimate's willing to spend. It is only the first push, so this is definitely a good time to use it. Even if they get the defense on the other side, there's no chance of losing the game. It's okay for that snowball to go one way. Almost connected on the Koga. That would have been embarrassing, honestly, for a Koga to die like that, but getting pressured back. Koga can't sustain there, but still the defense, that high ground is giving dividends. Triple Deeps.
Well, both of us clinching our chairs and leaning back as Vex lets that ultimate fly. I'm sure Cool was feeling much the same there. Rubu suddenly under a bit of duress as 2 of the 3 DPS players on Triple Deeps turn their attention towards that Ruckus. 5 seconds left. Ooh, that's good shots right around the corner, and he's got some low health bars. This could be a triple kill in the making. He grabs them all. Cool rounds the corner. What a play there by the Koga, and they grab themselves a point on defense.
I mean, that's the strength of Koga, being able to stall out and survive when other flankers wouldn't really be able to do that. And I wanted to see, is Genos on the power? He is on the power Cosmium. That's what I thought. That's why Cool wasn't able to dash out of that Void Grip earlier.
Gotcha.
He's running cripple on Void Grip to just deny these flanks mobility, and I think that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Especially if he's running bigger grip range or possibly even reset on kills on people who are void gripped. A lot of things that could be being used for Vex here. Let's see. Yep, so Falling Star 3, 60% cooldown reduction if the void grip gets a kill, and 30% more range. So that Koga, that Androxus, less so the Vivian and the Inara, but those two flankers are going to have such a hard time pressuring into Vex.
Does that change your play style a whole lot as a Genos player if you're playing Power Cosmium?
You better have someone with you.
I guess that's true.
You're not hurting anyone in your void grip.
You're right, you get a little bit of damage, but you need somebody else to help finish off those kills. Now that's the Midnight. They're going to find a good flank here. 5 members of Triple Deeps up on that high ground. Random looking away, some great damage there. Invocal cleans up one of the kills. That's Poison now on the Androxus, looking to clean up that Mave, but no good this time. Random Noob too smart to poke out one more time. Knows Poison is deadly with that revolver. 54% on the point now as Dosef takes up the mantle of point fighting duty. Gogurt getting identified. Could be a void grip moment. Don't need it this time as 3 members of Invocal and the Idiots round the corner. Double kill for the Cassie. Make it 3. Answers back from Cool on the opposite side, and 81% for Invocal and the Idiots. You're throwing bodies down onto the point. Invocal and the Idiots, point number 2.
Right there is why we see people buy deft hands on Vivian sometimes.
Sure.
Literally, Vex just ran down a Vivian on Genos, straight at him because of the reload. It's so long, so much time to get pressure in. I gotta say, they played so well around the resources they have, even just the health pool. People were so low, but just kept running away, kept hiding because of the CC that they have. Triple Deeps can't push to find these kills.
They finally get Invocal killed because he was running amok on that Cassie. Cool though, trades out his life for that one. Random Noob, Mave starting to do some work as well. Now you've got a full 2 minutes on this push. You've saved some good ultimates from that mid fight. You did enough just with the resources you had, as you point out. Had the Hexafire through time and space, maybe help set up a kill here and there. Seismic Crash used by Triple Deeps to just stall things out. So that's Wadu Heckington, who's caught out between a few members of Invocal and the Idiots. Cool with a good chance here to at least get a kill onto Vex, who's got himself out of range. No good on that one. Random Noob to save the day. And this push is looking great, at least to start for I&I.
That was a straight up Rubu highlight, I think. There. Him using the Hexafire to counter the Seismic Crash was such a good bait. People were like, all right, here's some dashes, go in, follow up. They were all dead.
But wait.
Andro couldn't do anything. Koga had to come in super late, and Wadu had to use DR and hide. That's not what you want on an aggressive play like that. Midnight maybe to open the aggression from the other side.
They grab and flame, though, to kind of trade out that one, but Midnight might counter out a little bit of the aggression that you're looking for. Double kill for the Inara, and Flame just going to finish up burning away here with 2 kills on the board. 2 for 1, maybe hope for a little bit more with the Inflame, but it's the kind of fallout after the Inflame that you look for. Rubu just peppering the doorway with shots. Cool. He's going to clean up the kill onto Josephs. 50 seconds left is where we stand. So far, another good stand, though, on this defense from Triple Deeps.
Great pressure and beams from Steve. I think he's been a highlight for me on the defense from Triple Deeps so far. Just constantly chipping away. We saw people having to run out of main, not being able to stay in that pinch angle and not being able to support the team that's pushing into orange because of a support's chip damage.
Right.
That's just great play, I think, by Steve to keep it locked down. And I think Invocal and Idiots are going to have to find a way to pressure some of the other sides. Just not let the Triple DPS surround them. Get the surround on their own end to not make them feel comfortable like they seem to on this defense.
Steve is such a good support, dude. I love seeing him play well, and not surprising at all to see him having a good game here on Serpent Beach. But suddenly a few members, too, to be specific, are falling now for Triple Deeps, with Wadu having to wall himself off. Chipped away, 3rd falls, the respawn is back. Gogurt has both Sentinels, 2 cleaned up by Random Noob. Rubu's there to help out. What a play by Invocal and the Idiots to catch out Gogurt up on that high ground. Random Noob unable to escape the grasp of Poison this time. Rubu brings out a couple of kills, though. Overtime is on. Hexafire could open the door to allow this payload to go through. It's going to just melt down that wall. Cool. Has some dashes available to stay alive. Into the ultimate, he goes with Gogurt trading out with 1. That's a double kill for this Koga. Dome Shield dropped by Josephs down. Overtime is on. Poison finds the flank, and that's Random Noob going 1 for 1. Overtime's gonna expire with Triple Deeps tying this one up.
It was a good idea from Invocal and Idiots with what they committed, but that Cyclone Strike, not getting that pick on that Koga, completely turns that around. Doe thought they had it won.
Yeah,
Domed on the point,
Dome Shield,
but just not. It wasn't enough. It didn't end up being enough in the end. Cyclone Strike had to be used when it was, so he wouldn't get void gripped and melted down, but still ended up being perfect, finding the kill onto the targets that were already low. And that Koga, this is his strength. Again, he's just so hard to kill. I was about to say, I say that and he has top deaths, but thankfully for my sake, Poison has one more than him. Still, really, really hard to pin down this Koga when he's playing properly.
And it's those moments, every once in a while, not every once in a while, but, you know, a good bit of the time you see Cool having those moments where he, you know, big triple kill kind of turns around to defense, what you need from him when you need it. He's been doing that so far, 5 streak for the Koga. Invocal and the Idiots have been pretty much flawless on these mid-fights. They just haven't been able to figure out the defense. So hoping to maybe set up game point here. That works out. Poison falls. Vex just to the side of Baller Steve with the through time and space. But that's the Androxus. That's the first death in this one. Random noob getting shot in the back by those SMGs from Koga, who's found his way back by the Sundial. Wadu Peckington is the last to go down from Triple Deeps. Only Midnight ready to go from Invocal and the Idiots. Gogurt falls, but they do have a couple ultimates to maybe try to retake, but you've got to go. You're already at 48% for Invocal and the Idiots.
Huge Zoe by Random too, but a little bit of an overextension. Poison coming there at the last second. And actually, I think Vex needs to pull back into it. Cool, but too much pressure on the sides. Wadu makes it to the point, the accursed arm hovering over it.
Cool is making people turn their heads here. You've got to choose where you look. Poison doesn't find much with that ultimate. They're going to back themselves off with Triple Deeps, putting themselves right back onto the point here. Up to 42% for them, but now when the attention is turned to you, you've got to be able to do something with it. He does delay a little bit, but he dies for his efforts. Wadu Peckington has the seismic crash. Could draw out this fight just a little bit longer. 81% for Invocal and the Idiots now. No ultimates for the red side, 1 ultimate for the blue side. Things maybe starting to slow down. This could come down to just 1 pick.
Yeah, and Invocal and the Idiots are actually charging their ults back up too. They're getting close to Dome and Hexafire if they do keep doing damage. They have to rush in now though, and Dome might be caught up by the seismic crash on point, but Wadu trades his life for it.
That's right, Rubu gets the kill with Poison trading out. That's point tank for point tank. What can the rest of your teams do for you? It's Baller Steve moving in, 96% up for Triple Deeps. Vex, he falls, but so does Baller Steve. They're trading an eye for an eye here. It's gonna be down to the damage dealers. And more recently, it's Cool with the big double kill. Overtime looking like it's gonna drain out. Reset one last time. Invocal in range, but Doseps is back. 80% on that Dome Shield. He's not gonna have the time. Melted away. Vex looking to get back in range for a little bit of healing. He does that at least. Baller Steve gets the kill. Overtime draining away. And the war of attrition goes for Triple Deeps.
War of attritions always favor this side without the Genos. Unless you can somehow avoid all the damage, it's going to be so tough. But again, more props to Steve. That beam stopped Rubu from touching, randomly spammed, but perfectly catching him when he tries to go in. And now Triple Deeps are trying to snowball this. This is where you want to be in Triple DPS, just keeping up the pressure, never letting them reset. But Invocal always has an answer.
Well, as dire as the start of this game looked for Triple Deeps, they are starting to push back Invocal and the Idiots and have a chance to win this game here with a successful push. I have something to say about it, though. Good shots from Wadu Peckington, grabs the double kill, and finally, a bit of a respite here. The fighting may continue. But now, you mentioned kind of midway through that point fight that Invocal and the Idiots were starting to charge up some of those ultimates. Just now, they're 5 strong. But you're getting into interesting territory with 1.5 minutes left. You spend them to secure the defense. Triple Deeps might not feel so pressured. You might lose out on the next point fight.
Yeah, it's possible, but they're willing to spend some, and it makes sense. There's enough time to recharge, but 3 thrown out by Invocal and the Idiots. This has to be a hard snowball, I think, if they really want to make it worth it.
Doseps, that's another good stun. He doesn't go down, actually. He stays alive. Cool. Ultimate ticking away damage at 2, and that's a double kill from him as well. This Koga, he has a way of showing up when his team needs him. 3 kills on the board for Cool, with Gogurt adding the 4th. And Random Noob's going to try to dash himself away. And this Koga, he turns this one around.
They just stood there, Dave.
Yeah,
Dave, they just stood there and took it. They could have tried to run. Maybe not Doe, but Rubu at least could have used some damage reduction, done anything to get away from that fight.
Well, those are PC players saying, what's a Koga? How do I play against this? And it doesn't come up in their favor that time. Cool Matt snags 3. That's through time and space from Vex. This is a big one. This, I think, might come down to a big overtime play from Triple Deeps. Rubu gets rid of the point tank for the blue side, is going to push the rest back. I think if they're smart, they might just be able to get out, stall this one without trading too many. What you don't want to do here is stagger out too heavily. And Gogurt's actually able to get a kill.
2, more or less, getting the kill from the far side. Now dropping down, but I don't know how long he'll be able to sustain on this point.
Nice shot, Poison. turns around, the damage, the stun is through from Baller Steve as well. The flick back looking for 3. Androxus, he's feeling himself now. Payload moving in. This could be the win from Triple Deeps. The zone is going to be out. A cursed arm. Random noob has to drop down to get the overtime going. Poison feeling himself. And what a turnaround from Triple Deeps.
They played super well for what they had, honestly. I think
Wow.
having double verticality on that map,
Yeah.
it's so hard to deal with. Koga and Drox climbing up top. I actually didn't even see the Koga up top as much as he probably could have been, just
Right.
playing that harass game from the low ground. But I think a small misstep by Vocal and the Idiots. I don't think the Genos, I don't think you want to take it away from him. I think you just
Yeah.
play your sustained game. It just won you a dominant first map.
I think it's very hard to highlight one specific person from Triple Deeps that game. I think Baller Steve had a phenomenal game.
yeah.
I think all 3 of the Deeps had a great game at specific moments too. The triple kills, everyone gets one this time around. Hey, this set is tied up. They show why they were able to take out some PPL talent in A project. Let's see who breaks this tie right after this break.